Hey, this is Kahja Elliott, Bronx born and raised, ATL made, Bay Area becoming, and this is the As Told By podcast. All right. This week's episode, we back of the As Told By podcast. This is the coveted Artist Spotlight episode. I do one each season. I'm super excited about today's conversation. So, I told y'all I'm doing the intros for people this season so I can make sure I capture all the dopeness about them. So for today, we have, I'm just going to start calling out things and maybe y'all will think about who I'm talking about. You'll come up with it before they start talking. But we have Hampton University graduate, almost 20-year background teaching music and theater. Music and arts director at the Way Christian Center in Berkeley. 1/4 of the group Soul Development, member of the Be Imaginative Collective, and as importantly, SF Native. SoLauren, what's up, girl?
What's up?
How you doing?
I'm well. First of all, thank you for this coveted spot.
Yes.
I was so honored when you asked, and so I'm just grateful to be here. I know you're going to ask all the right questions, the best questions, the real questions. So I'm excited. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
This is super dope.
Thank you so much for coming out. That was a lot, like all the things to run down. How does it hear when somebody like runs down all your stuff?
I started like looking back over my life and how I even got to those places a little bit. And I was like, whoa, like we've done some things, right? And that's just like a little chunk, you know? And then I was like, oh my gosh, like, wow, I'm grateful. Right. Really, really grateful to be included in all of that work, right? All of that good work. Yeah. So yeah, that was dope. That was super dope.
Well, thanks for coming.
Anytime.
I appreciate it.
Anytime.
Okay, so let's just jump in.
Yeah.
Like, you're such, like, in my mind, a musician.
Yes.
Right? But how did it get started? Were you born into a musical family? Where does your gift as a musician come from? Who are some of your musical influences?
Woo. Okay. Let's start from the jump.
Let's start, yes.
I'll start with my first memory period in life. I had to have been not even 1 year old yet. My first memory is of a concert. I've described it to my mother. I remember we were having a conversation some years ago. And I was like, yeah, my first memory of life is this concert. And I described the stage and the lighting and like where I could see. And she was like, you remember that? And I was like, yeah, Mom, I really remember that. And she was like, no, that was such and such concert that we were singing at or that we were there. So I do come from a musical family. I come from, like most Black musicians. We all grew up in a church playing something, singing something, right? But most of my elders now ancestors, and also my father, they're ministers, bishops, pastors. Okay. My great grandmother all the way down to my mother. We have intercessors, prayer warriors. How it goes, right? But my mother and my grandmother and my uncle and my aunt, they had a group called Turner, Allen, and Adams, and they were a gospel group here in the Bay. They would be on. There was a locally syndicated show. I'm trying to think of the name of the station right now. It escapes me, but I would go to their rehearsals, and that's one of the ways that I learned harmony. My mom taught us, me, my brother, my sister. There's 6 of us, but the first 3 of us, my mom taught us how to harmonize in the back of her old Nissan hoopty, the little white hoopty. It had mold in the back seat. Nobody wanted to sit back there, but that's where I learned how to harmonize and to sing with others, and learn my part and learn other people's parts. And that really like opened up being around music all the time. My father plays organ and piano, so I just kind of was born into it a little bit. But I think out of all of my siblings and my cousins, it really it was calling me. Like music was calling me specifically. And I was an athlete. And so I always wanted to play basketball. Me and my brother had this dream that we were going to be the first brother-sister duo in the NBA, But I remember when I would be playing, I would want them to practice with me. And they'd be like, okay, we want to go outside. Right, we don't want to sing no more harmonies. And I think it was in that moment that I was like, wow, then it is just going to be me. Like, it's me that's going to carry on this family legacy, all that you've learned from your grandmother, you know, one of the greatest sopranos, my Gigi. She, man, I can hear her voice right now, but like, I've learned from so many of them, and their legacy in terms of music, for me was like, okay, this is our family. This is something, you know, just like we have ministers, just like we have prayer warriors, like there are musicians here. And I decided I was going to be the one to like be at the forefront of that in my family and to continue that legacy. And so, it started there. It developed more, you know, playing in youth choir, playing keys, leading songs, you know, that kind of stuff. And then when it came down to, okay, it's either you going to choose sports or you going to choose being a musician, is when it was time to choose a college, choose a school. Where you going to go? What you going to do? And so when I decided to choose Hampton University, I was like, okay, I could play ball over there. And it was like, no, you can't if you plan on being a music major, because the schedules don't work. You can't, the way that they overlapped, rather, there was no way I could do both. And I had to really make a life choice around what I was going to pursue, like what I really what I was really called to do, right? Just because we were talking about this earlier, like just because you can do something don't necessarily mean you're supposed to be doing it, right? You know, and so I hung up my Nikes and I pushed forward in my music. I was a music major at Hampton University. It was one of the first places that I had formal training outside of the 3 months of piano lessons that my Gigi paid for, that I quit because I was like, I don't like this lady teaching me. She
Gigi's be coming through with
they
the
be coming through. They try, you know. But I think for me, from that point, or rather up to that point, being at Hampton and being a music major, I was a self-taught musician. I played by ear.
Oh, really?
There was no reading. Like I knew my notes, like I knew my lines and spaces, right? In my music theory, in terms of what it looked like on sheet music, but I wasn't like a fluent reader in terms of music and stuff. I didn't know a lot of theory per se. So when I got to Hampton, it was like, not only was it culture shock because I'm moving from California to Virginia, but now it's like you can't rely on your ear. Like they're asking you to play Bach. How are you going to play? Right. How are you going to play Bach by ear? I mean, some can, but I ain't that gifted, you know. I can hear some things, but that's a little beyond me. Yeah, no. And so I really had to like be the musician. I had to learn to be that in all the ways. It's like, if you're gonna do this, like, you need to know what you're talking about. You need to know the language of music, like not only the theory of it, but you need to know the science of it, how it works, really the physics of it, right? So I was taking like physics classes and calculus classes and it was another acoustics and all kind of like things that had the science behind music, the engineering behind music. I was a music engineering and technology major, but my emphasis was piano. Okay. That's my first love. Okay. And so that's really from there, graduated, started gigging, like really getting life.
Wait.
Oh, go ahead.
Before you get to the gig. So let's go back to being from San Francisco.
Yes.
What part of San Francisco?
I'm from Fillmore.
Okay.
What's up, Fillmore? Turking to visit Daryl. What's good? Yeah, shout out to all the folk. Shout out to Black San Francisco first and foremost. I know we are grieving. We're grieving not being able to occupy the space that we did and what we added to what we know as San Francisco culture, at least what I knew it to be. Yeah. So shout out to Black San Francisco. Those of you who are still there, who remain, don't sell grandma's house.
Don't sell
great grandmama house. Don't sell the house. Just stay, y'all. So yeah, shout out to the city. I love y'all big time.
I feel like it's coming back. I know quite a few people that are getting back in the business loop there because they're trying to restore the feeling.
Because you can't snatch the soul out of a city and expect it to be the same. But that's another combo. Right. That's another conversation.
Right. Okay, so you are leaving San Francisco, coming to the East Coast to go to Hampton. The other, is it HU?
Well, they say it's the other one, but I think we just that one. It's just that one. Okay, we the best HU. The better one, we'll say.
So what year is this that you are coming from place to place? And what was, the landscape of music? How were you being influenced? you just told the story about coming in, not being technically versed. So you're influenced by just the pop culture of music around you. And now you're getting into this place where now you have to be influenced by the technicalities of music.
Yeah. So this is 2002. Okay. And you got to remember, because I'm a musician, I was grieving during the early 2000s. Music took a very drastic change for me. It went from this beautiful 90s R&B and hip hop that still, I mean, don't get me wrong, we wasn't perfect, but we were still us. And we still valued musicality. We still valued lyrical content. You about to have me throw this phone, because first of all, bridges are my specialty. So if anybody is looking for an R&B bridge, come holler at me. Bridges are my specialty. But I was grieving the transition of music becoming so industry that I had to shut my ears off from the radio for a long time. I'm not going to say no names of artists, but there were people who, for me, I'm like, wow, y'all have these platforms and you are just song after song after song, like destroying Black culture specifically. It wasn't just music culture, because we are music. I don't care what nobody say. In any space, it's us. Right. It is us. And for me, that was difficult, knowing my background, knowing what I knew about music, knowing what I knew about music in terms of its medicinal uses, its healing properties, what it was able to do to soothe the soul. This was very harsh for me, right? Like, I'm sensitive about music. Like, that's my first love. Like, you talking about the thing I fell in love with, like the thing that I would let my siblings, fine, y'all go play. It's me and music, right? You know? So that was a hard time for me. But what was beautiful about it was, you talking about early 2000s, when I think of who I was listening to, it was Pharrell and the Neptunes. It was Timbaland and Missy Steele.
You were well placed for that.
I was in Virginia. Yeah. Now, here's what I didn't. You got D'Angelo. I was into D'Angelo during that time. Like, and these were people who were like saving graces for me, you know, who were at least giving me something to work with. Like, there was still levels of musicality. I'm not saying the content was always the greatest with them, but for the most part, they did great.
Play an instrument, they could right.
Somebody, you know? And so I felt blessed, though I was grieving, leaving San Francisco, and also seeing the gentrification happening in San Francisco around that time. It kind of started around, it started like manifesting fully during that time. So grieving that, and then to grieve music, my baby, and then to be dropped into this beautiful hub of creativity in Virginia. I mean, and we just listed a few folk. We didn't even get to like everybody that's come out of Virginia. But I was put into this space where it's like, y'all play, y'all sing, y'all write, y'all do everything, y'all produce, y'all do everything well. And that's what I was looking for. I needed to be in a space where it was like, y'all care about this. You know what I mean? So I felt so blessed to be in Virginia and to soak up all of what Virginia had for me as a musician. During that time, I was interning with Hannon Lane. Shout out to Hannon, my big brother. Hannon is Timbaland's co-producer. So I was interning in the studio. I want to say that studio was owned by Blackstreet via Teddy Riley or one of the members. It was just unreal. But I was like cleaning bathrooms. I was their runner. I was cleaning the bathrooms. I was going out to get their fruit and stuff. Like I was that intern, right? So I got to do that. And I experienced it. And I saw him make some incredible records he had made for Rihanna, records he had made for who else was working? A Jennifer Hudson record Hannon had done that during that time. And I'm watching him crank this out, and I'm like, okay, so there is a way to be musical and be a part of this industry without being completely tainted by all that, you know, is happening in terms of the business side of it. Like what's making money right now. I was in there with Junior. Shout out to Junior, who is an incredible engineer. You talking about like somebody who's worked on the best of best, like from Teddy Riley's music to Michael Jackson's music. This man has done it all. So I'm watching these people at work doing what they do as an intern. I'm in school, but I'm also gigging because I'm trying to help pay for school and books, you know. So I was on the gig scene, and I was playing at that time like three bands at a time, sometimes depending on the situation. And but I was soaking up that game, doing all the open mics they had. Shout out to Fuzzy Wednesdays and the Fuzz Band.
You was doing your legwork.
I was really. I really tell people all the time, Virginia was my training ground for real. For it's like, okay, if you can make, you know, they say if you can make it in New York, you can make it in, you make it in LA. No, if you can make it in Virginia, you talking about people who are true musicians. Like if they banging with you, you all right. Yeah. You gonna be all right.
Yeah.
I be telling people, okay, go to Virginia. You gonna hear some singing. You gonna hear some playing for real, you know. And it really became my second home. I have so many chosen family members there, musical or musician and non-musicians. Like just Virginia really is a place for lovers, but it's also the place where, you know, I got my heart broken a few times, broke a few hearts myself, you know. But it created. It created a different type of writer in me, a love songwriter, artist in me. Like it really made me say, like, okay, I'm soaking this game in VA. I'm gigging. I'm doing all. What are we gonna do with all this, Lauren? Like you got to make a decision. Like you decided, okay, you hung up your Nikes, but now you got this, and it's growing. So what are you gonna do with it? You know.
So okay, so this is. I'm loving this conversation.
Go for
All right,
it.
so now tell me, how does that translate to you finding your way into soul development? Did that happen during your college years? Was that something where now your college is over and you're back in the Bay Area and you kind of find your way to people who were in similar spaces? Or how did that become soul development?
Wow. So here's the backstory. I was always a solo artist. So before soul development, like I said, I was gigging, playing keys and maybe some ooh-oohs here and there for some folk. Do-wop-wops, right, in the background. But I was always a solo artist. And I always created my music and I was growing my music. But while I was at Hampton, my little brother decided he would join me at Hampton too. My brother right underneath me. Okay. Shout out to Dr. Ryan Adams. But Kahja and my little brother Ryan were roommates freshman year. So I meet Kahja. I don't even know if he had turned. I don't even think he had turned 18 yet. He was 17 because he's a January birthday, and I met him the fall. So he wasn't even 18 yet. So that's how me and Kahja got familiar with one another, right? But still hadn't spent like deep time, but enough time. Like he had become my little brother, right? He become my little brother. He and Felicia, they had they were a duo, and they had what was called His Words, Her Sound, and it was like just the cutest love and because poetry and music, and they are right. I love them so dearly, and so I got to kind of watch their relationship grow and our friendship, the three of us, right? I've just been their big sis, you know? We would do things like after graduation or not. Matter of fact, Kahja, let me start here. Kahja, the first time I heard Kahja, I knew Kahja as a poet before I knew him as MC. Okay. The first time I heard him was at an open mic on Hampton's campus. They would do something in the student center every now and then. And I was like, oh, look, you know, my little brother's friend is going up there. Go ahead, Kahja. He gets up there. And I didn't know he had all of that at such a young age. I didn't know. And again, you're talking about somebody who's been grieving music and like, man, it's just bad and ain't nobody talking nothing. And here it is. I'm hearing somebody younger than me.
You're like, wait, hold up.
Hold it. You my brother's age, right? And you're talking like I'm talking. Wow. And I just remember from the first time I heard his voice, it was so commanding, but it was so gentle, and it was so, it was a bomb for sure. Cause I was like, I needed that. I just needed to know that whatever's happening in this 2000s era in terms of arts and entertainment,
somebody still want to talk about something.
I'm not alone. It's really, no, seriously, I really felt like, okay, I'm not alone. Like somebody else still cares. Yeah. So you fast forward some years, everybody graduates, we all leave. I stayed in VA for a while. Like I said, I was gigging. Up and down DC. They had moved he and Felicia had moved to DC. Kariga's teaching in DC. I'm teaching a little bit in Virginia. I end up moving to Miami. They're still in DC, Maryland area. They meet Brittany in DC. Brittany's in DC working on her album at the time. They meet her on the open mic scene in DC, which is a trip because we never ran into each other. None of us did at the time, which is weird because we were all there. Yeah. It just wasn't time for us to link.
To align yet.
It wasn't time. One homecoming, Hampton University, Kariga says, hey, do you mind playing keys with me? I'm gonna do a set, for homecoming. You mind playing keys? I'm bringing Brittany, our friend Brittany down here. She's from Cali too. I'm like, oh, word, cool, more Cali people. And I'm gonna bring our friend Mark Knox. He's from Sacramento, but he's coming through. He's hanging with us. I'm like, yeah, let's do it. So it's me, Brittany, Mark, and Kariga, and we do this set. And that's the first time I get to meet Brittany. And we like instantly is like, yo, you don't. No, you don't. Okay, we don't. Meet Mark. Man, like we really need to work together. He's like, no, really, we do. So that starts, forming and budding. I go back and do what I'm doing in Miami. They're back in DC. I end up having a falling out. We can be honest here, right? Okay, I end up having a falling out with my dad during that time. And we'll get there, I think, at some point. But this was a turning point for me. And I said, I can't stay in Miami. I can't be here. I gotta go back home. I'd rather go back home than to be in this. And so I did. I was like, I'm heading back. And I get a call from Kariga 2 days before I'm heading back to California. He said, hey, sis, I heard you moving back to the Bay. I said, yeah, I'm ready. Mind you, I'm teaching in Miami. So I'm like, what am I going to do about a job? Because now we in the Bay. You talking 2015. It's like, it's grind. The grind is already real in the Bay.
Has landed.
Oh, tech has been all up and through this thing, and they just getting started. Like they ain't even wrecked shop completely yet,
Man.
So I'm thinking, he's like, well, we about to open up this school called Roses and Concrete. It's Tupac's legacy school. I said, stop right there. You had me at Tupac's legacy school. Like, you talking about Pac. Now, Pac is sensitive for me. Pac was, you see my nose is pierced, right? My nose wouldn't be pierced if it wasn't for a Tupac. Okay. That was the first MC that I felt like not only did they understood who we were as a people. And again, Pac was young. Pac
came with his things.
Pac had some things. Pac was very complicated. But one thing Pac was black, unapologetically. And he knew that and understood that. And that I gravitated towards Pac very early. And when he passed, that hit me. It was like losing a big brother, losing a uncle. Now, I guess he would be considered uncle. But at that time, it was like losing a big brother. And so when he said Tupac's legacy school, you mean I get to build on what Pac was about?
I'm in. Right.
What y'all need? What you need me to teach? Well, music. And then eventually it opened up to theater. It was music and theater. And so like, yeah, we all come back to the Bay. Brittany's in the Bay. Kariga's in the Bay. Felicia's in the Bay. I'm in the Bay. We're all moving back. And finally they're gigging a little bit here and there, and I'm playing keys for them. They're like, would call me, hey, we need somebody to play keys. So I'm just playing keys, doing what I'm still a solo artist. I'm putting out singles and stuff. Folks are enjoying it. But I'm playing keys. And then I love that. I love being a team player. It's one of my favorite things to play, right? But they're like, yeah,
so trying to have an Eddie Kane moment.
No, I wasn't trying to Eddie Kane no situation. It was no need, because to me, I felt like what they were really, the message of soul development is too big for one artist to carry. At least the way we do it, right? Some people.
I love that perspective.
That's really what it was. And I remember after a gig, I think it was after a First Friday's gig, we walking back and we had just killed. Like we went in. And they was like, yeah, so you in the group now. Like, I was like, wait, what you mean I'm in the group now? They was like, you in soul development. Like, we want this. This is what we need. We need somebody to help us, like, really bring this musicality the way we want to so that this message can be as potent and as powerful as it deserves to be. And I was so honored for that ask. Like I said, I've played in bands before, right? But to be a solo artist, to be asked to be a part of a group amongst other solo artists, to me, it showed that they had a lot of respect for what I was already doing and felt like it could just add value to what they were trying to do. So yeah, like that's how the group part.
There's so much serendipity in that story.
I mean, and I gave you like, I didn't give you all
notes.
that wasn't even all the like the divine details of it all, because it just, the more that we talk to one another, build with one another, love and practice love daily with one another, we're realizing like this wasn't just no happenstance. Oh, we met in college and we met in DC. It was written. It's so written, and we didn't realize that. And probably until 2019, I think it really hit, just like, oh, we were meant to do life together, y'all. Like, we are a tribe. We are a village. Like we're supposed to do this together. Yes, we have our individual stuff going on, and that's beautiful. But there's nothing like seeing soul development, the four of us locked in. I've never seen anything like it. Like, I be trying to be like, maybe we're like this group, but no. Okay, but maybe no, because we different than that too. And
that's your own lane.
And to me, that alone lets me know, because I haven't seen this before, this is special, and this was meant to be done like this. We were meant to link in these little pockets.
Supposed to be doing
it. Was supposed to be. It was supposed to be. Yeah.
So, Lauren, so much great music, it comes from a space of grief or suffering, which, of course, no one is dying to have those experiences, right? Sure. But do you think that it imparts something into the music that's different than what you capture when you're creating from a space of joy, or do you think the two are similar?
I must say this. So I have something called good grief that I have been heavily investigating within my own grief process. And I call it good grief because it's when grief meets gratitude. And when I'm creating while I'm grieving, if anything, I try to stay in that gratitude mode of it, because yes, grief, first of all, I believe grief should be normalized, period. Should be a conversation. I should be able to tell you, hey, I'm grieving such and such. If somebody says, how are you doing that? Well, I'm grieving. Well, let's talk about, as opposed to, like, I don't know what to say. You're grieving, like, no. I'm that one. That's the classic one. Yeah. I'm okay. No, I'm not actually, And so when I'm creating, I try, even if I am writing something about grief and it happens to be sad, I always try to leave an element of joy or element of hope that shows that somewhere along this writing process, she didn't give in to whatever it was, right? Or whatever was trying to make her feel like, oh, you got to be weighed down about this, or you got to be sad. And it's like, there's room for that. There's room for all the feelings, but what you gonna do about it, right? Are you going to stay in it, wallow in it? Are you gonna, where do you want to lead people in this? Is it just to be sad? And that's what we feeling? And then if that's the purpose of it, or if that was the point, then okay. But for me, I want to make sure you understand that grief isn't your enemy. Grief ain't trying to take you out per se. If anything, grief has something to tell you. Wow. And you just need to sit in it and listen and see.
That'd be the hard part, the sitting.
That's the part for me as an artist that has allowed me to create, I think, some of the best music that I've made so far. Because it's the most honest, like in terms of where I'm really at. It's not how, Like they tell you to write songs and make people happy. Tell you to write songs so that people can stream it. Tell you to write songs so people can twerk all day to it, right? And those are forms of joy, sure. But I think if we're really using music for like the spiritual medicine that it can be in a world that's going through like real stuff.
A lot of stuff.
Where it's like masking things, no pun intended, isn't gonna cut it. You know, like we really got to face these things head on. And so for me, it's like I try to incorporate, even in soul development, like I said, we really understood that 2019, we had so many losses. Corrigan Felicia's firstborn, double transition. Brittany's brother, Michi, was shot and killed in Baltimore 3 weeks after that. Wow. And then you fast forward maybe a few months later and I lose grandparents 10 hours between one another.
Wow.
So we that's why I say, we was meant to do life together, because to have that as a support, as a creative support too, while we were all grieving was nothing but like just divine order in terms of what was needed for these 4 creatives to not quit, so that grief didn't stop us, you know? And we were, man, let me tell you something. Y'all better be glad that pandemic pulled up, because soul development was about to just stomp on the whole and just completely take over. But I'm glad that it didn't happen that way. I'm glad we had a chance to grieve. I'm glad we had a chance to rest. I'm glad we had a chance to sit with our stuff, even outside of the grief, because it has, not only do we know each other in a more intimate way now, but we were just at the Kennedy Center creating. We throw that in.
Kennedy Center.
We were just at that one. Yeah. You know, we were just in DC at the Kennedy Center, and it was our first time creating an album since all of that. And it was like, we are really, if we thought we were something then, right? Or if anybody had any hope and faith in us then, please believe what you about to hear. It's out of this world, because again, we took our time with our grief, and we're still grieving. I'm not saying we over, because grief is not linear. It is not. It is not, you know, but we've been able to take that and transform it into something, because it's really just energy. Grief is love, is what we say. Grief really is love. So it's just the opposite side of it. And you don't grieve things you don't love. Right. Think about it. It's not when the Queen wasn't Queen Elizabeth. Crickets, okay? Crickets. But like, you know, you pull somebody that you really invested time and like really care, come on. And that's why I say grief comes to teach us something. It's love trying to speak from that end. It's just trying to tell you something. And the more we run from it, or the more we avoid it, or the more we refuse to put it in our art, because nobody's going to listen to it. That. Nobody want to be sad. And it's like, it's not about being sad. It's about facing what we all go through as a human being. We have every human being who walks this earth at one point in time, you're going to grieve something or someone. And you're going to need tools, music, medicine, those types of things to help you get through it. And if I can be a vessel to do that and bring you whatever I can so that you can grieve, then I've done my part as an artist. We believe what Nina Simone says, that is an artist's responsibility to reflect the times in which we're living in. Well, we're grieving. We're grieving right now. That is the time. That's what time. It's grief time. Yeah. Unfortunately, nobody wants it to be, but it just is. And I hate that we're acting like, and I hate that the industry is acting like we're not. We have artists. There's people on labels right now grieving. People, I love how Meg
acting out, and it comes out in all kind of other ways, because you just won't get into it.
Because you won't sit with it for a minute. You won't talk to nobody. You won't let it go. You just won't. And I understand it. It's human to, want to hold and just, I got it. I could do it. Especially as Black folk. We weren't allowed to grieve, especially on these United States. Right. When we got over here, grieve. No, we don't get to do that. There is no crying. There aren't even any goodbyes. There is no closure. So we have been conditioned not to grieve anyway. Yeah. Anyway, and so it's just time for us. But we see when we don't, like you said, when we don't, it comes out in all of these harmful ways, very, very harmful ways. And I know for me, if I can write something with whatever I've been given, all these gifts, if I can write something, sing something, create something that tells somebody I can do this one more day, I can make it even another minute. Yeah. It's worth it.
I can get through this experience. Even if it's not your experience. And what you're talking about, it walks us perfectly into what I wanted to ask you next. Yeah. But before I go to that, I want to say that even if the experience of grief is not your particular experience, the way it resonates, I was so impressed, and I spent a lot of time over this summer listening to the Blue Hour.
Oh, right?
Yeah. And that was not my experience at all. That album, it just, him walking us through. If y'all haven't listened to the Blue Hour by Rex Life Raj, go do that.
Go get it. And go buy that merch.
That too. But just being walked through that journey of him having lost both of his parents in that back-to-back scenario. Yeah. I remember going to see when he did the show at August Hall a couple of months back.
I was there.
Yeah, and I was just kind of watching people, right? Because he has this body of work I didn't know about, right? But watching people react to the music, and I'm like, this is what it's for, right? These people have not had this experience, but they're connecting somehow to this experience that he's sharing.
Yeah, because here it is, because grief, like I said, we all are going to experience it in some way. Even if it's like, I'm grieving the loss of a job I didn't get. That's still grief, you know? Like, it doesn't necessarily have to be your parents or a loved one, but
what you thought it would be.
What you thought it would be. Because that's really what grief does. It puts you in a reality like, oh, you thought you was in control of how long and how many times? No, you're not.
How it's gonna look.
And how it's gonna look. And what I've learned is that grief only changes how you show up. It doesn't change everything that you're supposed to be doing. It didn't change my purpose as a creative, not at all. But what it did change is how I'm gonna show up in it and what I have to bring to where I'm going. You know what I mean? And so, yeah. I mean, I think again, finding artists who are willing to tap into their grief and share it, to me, it brings a sense of belonging for everybody, right? I don't have to have the same grief as you, but to know that you're grieving something that you loved or something that you wanted, or, you know, I can resonate with that and I can relate. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So, you know, to that point, you're a part of the team that brought forth the Emmy-winning documentary, Dear Beloved, which I got to go when they showed it at the drive-thru.
Yes.
Fort Mason was that. Yes.
In the city. It was lit.
It was beautiful. Yeah. It was beautiful. But, you know, that documentary really showcases the connection between music and storytelling. Yeah. So what was it like getting creatively in tune with that project, because it dealt with people's collective grief at such a deep, deep level? Yeah. Woo. It was a lot.
Yes. It was a whole lot. And, you know, I think I'm still grieving parts of the process around Dear Beloved. There was a lot that went into it in terms of like trying to tell, you know, not just our story, but you have mothers who have lost their children to gun violence. And that's the work that we do in Be Imaginative. We curate healing spaces and healing circles for mothers who have lost their children to gun violence, and give them an opportunity to change, and rather that energy we're talking about, the grief, and creating something beautiful. And when I look at that documentary, first of all, we weren't expecting nobody's Emmy. At least I wasn't. It wasn't in my radar at all. If I'm being honest, again, I almost wasn't going to show up for what you've watched because of some frictions and tensions, you know, surrounding the making. As you said, there's a lot of moving pieces, and human error is real, you know, and unfortunately, human error causes harm. And I think I was at a point where I was like, no, I'm not lending near gift of mine into a space where I'm feeling harm, you know? But it was in that moment where I had to like, and though that's a beautiful boundary to have, I think it had to be lifted. Because here's the thing about love, right? It has the final say, right? My love for those mothers, my love for Kariga and Felicia and all that they had lost and experienced, my love for Brittany, my love for my Be Imaginative fam, my love for my community called for me to say, I understand how you feel. However, love is the assignment here. And I'm not saying that that's going to be the case every time. Sometimes I get to say, I ain't going, and that's what it is. But it was bigger than my feelings, though valid, though righteous and rage as they should have been. Could not take precedent over what was more important, which was healing mine and others in that situation. So I showed up.
Yes, you did.
And I did, and I showed up in love, and I think, and I hope this is a what's the word I'm looking for? I hope this is something that people can understand when I'm saying this, that choosing love, you never lose. You just don't. You don't. It might feel like that for a moment, but you don't. Remember, I said I wasn't looking for nobody's Emmy, and
look what came out of it.
You know? And I think about, not so much had I not shown up, I would have won it anyway. Had I not, but that wasn't the point, right? The point was, but Lauren, your light. When I say can't no darkness ever steal my shine on that documentary, I'm talking about everything I was feeling in that moment.
Okay.
I don't care what darkness is trying to brew itself, and really it was nothing but the ops be real. The ops will try to stop you from showing up in your light, and I just was not about to let that happen. My feelings had to no, that don't matter right now, and we can handle that, and that can be addressed, but these mothers need your voice to bring voice to what it is that they're experiencing. So sing, child of God. Sing and do what you're called to do. You know you're supposed to do this, you know? And I remember sitting there and I was singing. I kept thinking, I'm singing for myself, but I'm also singing for people whose loss is like, there is no coming back. You know what I'm saying? There's no physical comeback, right?
That's hard.
My sis Britt can't get her brother Michi back. She's having to navigate how to communicate with him in a whole nother realm now. But he can't sit here. You know what I'm saying? So I got to do this for those who can't be here no more. Kariga's brother Kareem is gone, right? In the physical. So I got to sing about this. You know what I'm saying? Like their lives deserve to be sung over like this. You know what I mean? So I'm grateful that I chose love in that moment. Not so much for the Emmy, but for what it did for our village. Like, to be able to say I stood 10 toes solid with my loved ones in a real way, even when I had every right and reason to not. Nah.
You showed up.
In love. That's what mattered to me, because that's me.
Yeah.
That's gonna be me all day. It's not me to be like, that's not even in my character.
You pulled out.
I was going to, and it was the most beautiful experience, I think, when I look back on it, to be able to hold that kind of space. I felt like I was carrying a heavy load in that documentary in terms of musically, right? Like trying to help the band. Shout out to Mino Yancey, because they some bad brothers on them instruments. But to be able to like arrange the music with them, and like with Damani, like, all right, Damani, this is how this goes, you know, and we in 25th Street studio and making it happen, you know, like being able to like show up like I was supposed to when they asked me to be in the group. You are our musical, you are that one, like help us do that. And to be able to do that in one of the toughest times for all of us, like, I'll never forget that. I will never forget that. And I'll never forget letting love lead me. I told them, I said, Lauren was done, but love wasn't.
Wow.
Love wasn't done. Wow. You can be done, Lauren. That's fine.
But you're still going to show up.
But you're going to in love. Yes, you are.
In love. Well, you show up. You show up with love in a lot of places because, you are featured on some of the songs I love from a lot of my favorite Bay Area artists. Yeah. God We Try, yeah. Communion, No Weapon, right? They all seem to have this common thread of spirituality. Yeah. So what has been your process for creating music that's clearly rooted in spirituality without preaching to people?
Yeah. Because I had to do it for myself. Growing up in church, there were a lot of things that I heard, and I was like, that's not very nice to say to anybody, and being preached at to me, I don't find it effective. I just don't find it effective. I do believe in like living out and let that preach for itself, right? Just living your life.
Let your life be your fruit.
We say it at Hampton, let your lives do the singing.
Okay.
Let your life
bars.
Oh, we got bars at the one and only. No.
Yeah.
We really believe that. And so I think I got to a point where I realized we need that. It is a part of who we are as Black people, is spirituality. I know a lot of us are going back to our, our African spirituality and pulling on those things. And some of it did translate into the Black church. Some didn't make it, because it was demonized more than likely. Yeah, yes. And so more than likely it was. And so for us, or rather for me, I want to let people know in the music that that's still in us. However you unlock that for you, because I can't tell you. I ain't got nowhere to put you after this is over anyway.
Right.
So that's up to you. But I want you to know that that is a part of us. And that is a part of the music that we make. I think that's why I grieved that early 2000s in music, because the spirit was gone. Yeah. It was like, and it's and still gone. And it's like really, really hard. Like, I feel like you said, we're coming back a little bit. We trying.
Yeah.
But it's still a very much so a tug of war, because it's been gone for so long. You're talking 20 plus years. We haven't had it in music. And then you go back to our U.S. history here. We weren't allowed to practice any of it. And so it's like, I'm doing my best to remind us of what it sounded like. It's funny because when I sing in those songs and come from those spiritual places, I don't get to sing like me. It's really not.
It's something moving through you.
It's like, all the ancestors, the grandmothers that I heard singing, the mothers in the church that I heard singing, like, they're coming out. I don't want to sound like, who wants to sound like grandma and them? I don't.
But I want to sound like me.
I want to sound like SoLauren. But in those times when it calls for that, I find my voice morphs into going into another realm that we need to tap into a little bit more. And if my voice can carry us back to those places, the things that kept us all these years, I want to be able to like display that in music. And I love that all of those artists, shout out to Grand National, shout out to MacArthur Mays, shout out to Kariga on that record as well, on No Weapon, because these are people who trust that part of me.
Yeah.
They honor it and they respect it, and they leave and make space for it all the time.
Let you come in and do what you do.
They let me do it, and that's unheard of in this industry. It's more like, calm that down, save that for Sunday. Don't bring that to the studio. But they're like asking, no, we want that on the record. Like, no. Monty always says, Boogie, nah, do you? Do it. I'm like, you sure?
Like,
you sure? Because when the spirit is unleashed in here, it's not up to me.
Right.
You're not going to get SoLauren. You about to get SoLauren, but the spiritual side that I've always nurtured. But it's been beautiful to be on records like that. And that's the kind of music I always wanted to make, like music that makes people feel from that place, right? It's like, I want to make you dance, move your feet and clap your hands, but like, I want your your inner self
inside to feel good.
Yeah.
And the joy too, right? It's not always just the spirituality, because like when I think of Summer Waves Volume 1 and 2, it's the fun. It's so fun and light, and you want to be out in your cute outfit out at the lake. I'm like, I could see the whole vibe. So creating from that space of spirituality, but also creating from that space of joy. And when you did a cover of September,
I did,
right?
Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Who don't know it, right?
Listen.
Was there a nervousness with covering something that was so closely tied to people's memories?
Yes,
of like Blackness and joy.
Yes, I used to have this thing as an artist, especially as a solo artist. I was like, don't mess with the classics. Just don't, because things are just and I've seen artists do it, and I just be like, you should have left it alone. Why you mess with it? We didn't need it. Actually, it added nothing. I think that's just something that I just always had shied away from. Now during the pandemic, like I said, 2020, I had just lost my grandparents. And I was, or at least I'll say, the first set of grandparents, and I was already in a pandemic grieving them. And Summer Waves specifically, before I get into that was Summer Waves. I'm talking about the grieves of or rather the waves of grief. Those were my summer waves. Wow. And me having to grieve all of that and saying, I'm not going to allow a pandemic. I'm a summer baby. You're not going to take my summer away.
You take my birthday.
You ain't going to take my birthday, right? I'm going to make joy in the music then, But when it came to September, that was also a song that I would, when I was in the pandemic practicing, like most musicians, I'm with my instrument and I'm playing, and I'm shedding, and here comes this groove, boom, dun, 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 dun. And I'm just, like, ooh, do you remember? And I'm just like, yeah,
that feels familiar. That feels good.
So I was, and just really having fun, and just we call it shedding as musicians, just shedding on it, And I decided, I was like, you know what? Let me record my practice, right? For me, because I was like, I need to make sure if I'm gonna do a classic, it gotta be right. It gotta be right. So I recorded, and I said, well, first let me do this. I'm gonna post it just as is. I ain't gonna do no track, no nothing. It's just gonna be me piano, and I'm gonna beatbox through it, right? And I'm gonna just post it on the gram and see what happens. The response was,
avalanche
I was like, oh wow, so y'all really, okay, you're here for this version of it. Because most people be like, this Earth, Wind, and Fire, you don't mess with Earth, Wind, and Fire. But everybody like showed so much love and support. Like, when are you gonna do this? When are you gonna? And I was, okay, I gotta do it. Never recorded it. Left it alone. 2020 rolls in, and I'm like, grieving again. Another grandparent passes at the top of the year. I had so many other losses in 2021, but I just was like, okay, it's time for me to use this song to help me remember, because that's part of good grief is remembering. Y'all will learn that in the book when it comes with the album, Good Grief.
We waiting.
But part of good grief is to remember, and remembering the true love we shared today. Those lyrics, you know what I'm saying? Like, remember the time you spent. Remember how we danced, danced the night away, and all the things that I did with all of my loved ones. And I had to call Kariga because he's the only person that I knew at the time that understood how to remember. Like I was meaning it in this record, and so we shot a video. Shout out to Monty again. Shout out to Wilkes, my co-producer from day one out of VA, who helped me really make this record me. I said, I can't recreate Earth, Wind, and Fire. Can't nobody do it like them.
Right.
I won't do that, but I will do what came up for me in that little session, that little shed session in my little living room in the pandemic. And I sent Wilkes this little skeleton track. He's like, I know what to do with this. I got you. He put his bells and whistles on it, and I called Riga, and I was like, Riga, I need you to remember. It's called September, and his oldest daughter, Kamayu, transitioned in September 30th. My grandmother, Maran, transitions in April, but her birthday is September 20th.
Wow.
So I said, I need you to help me remember both of them. He said, I got you. He pulls up. I said, now I'm only giving you this much, Rika. You only got this much on the record. Can you say something that speaks to remembering via grief? How do we say this? And when he ended it with love is the greatest asset on the atlas.
Wow. Mic drop.
Mic drop. We don't have to do Earth, Wind, and Fire didn't say that. Right? You know? And so like that, I think that doing that record, my way, our way, if you will, has opened me up to being like, what other covers have I always wanted to do but shied away from, you know? So you'll hear more of those. It'll just be records that I feel like I can add value to, like that I can really make it my own, to where it's not stepping on the original's toes, but it's giving you a SoLauren version of it, you know? Yeah. So, yeah.
Okay. Well, while you're doing that, I mean, you still are doing an amazing job at creating amazing work. I feel it. Definitely my favorite.
Mine too.
Of yours. I remember hearing it for the first time and thinking it was really, really special. I know that for you, it coincided with just like some personal losses in your life that, you know, I saw you talking about. So are you able to, well, not so much speak about how the song came to be, but, you know, just to really drive home the message that you were trying to make with the song. And I'll tell you before you answer that, when I listened to it like the first several times, it felt to me, I remember thinking like, this is a song that you hold in trust, right?
Yes.
Like you may not need to access the message of this right in this moment. Yeah. But you know that when you get ready,
that's the one.
That's the one. That's where you're going to go.
Yes. Oh, I'm glad you felt that, because that's what was put into it in terms of like releasing it. Because I was like, again, don't nobody want to grieve. Don't nobody want to feel nothing right now. Don't nobody want to sit with nothing. But I knew if I was doing it, I don't care if it was one other person who was doing it, they needed to hear this. Because I knew what I feel it was doing for me at the time. Or rather this year, I released I Feel It. I lost 2 more grandparents this year, February, and then again in May. And so it was, I feel it was, or rather it came during a time when I really was feeling it all. You talking 2019, I'm grieving. 2020, I'm grieving. 2021, I'm grieving. 2022, I'm grieving. Wow. You do the math. Yeah, that's a lot of compiled grief on top of grief to be trying to feel. But I had to. I had to feel it all. There was no compartmentalizing it, because it was all in front of me. Yeah. There was no escaping it. It was there. It was elephants in the room.
A zoo in the room.
Right, a whole zoo. You know, lions, tigers, and bears. Oh my, you know. And I had to make a choice, I think, how I wanted to feel it. And I wanted to feel it through the music. And I wanted, again, to be honest and transparent in what it takes to feel it all. Now, I don't recommend saying I'm gonna feel all of it and you have no like nothing
kind of outlets
to kind of help you while you're feeling it all. So I had to really be honest in that record. Like I said, that's one of the most honest songs I have ever written that y'all have heard. That y'all have heard up until this point. And I remember debating whether or not to even give y'all that record and just wait until the Good Grief project came out, because that's what it'll be on. And I was like, no, somebody needs, I don't know who it is. And remember, I'm quite tapped in in terms of like my spiritual awareness around my gifts and the timing of them. And it never aligns with industry time when you're quote unquote, you're supposed to release on this time and during this. This is like, I think I released that in the summer. Who wants that in the summer? No one. But I knew it was necessary because I knew it was healing me. In that record, I'm talking about like therapy. Black people, we're starting to talk about it, but we ain't really singing about it yet. Right. Not quite. Shout out to Kendrick Lamar on the on his latest album, you know, talking about going to therapy, but like ain't nobody talking about doing it and doing it consistently, you know. When my Papa Rich passed, one of the things that we were gifted was being able, like through his healthcare, was to be able to go to group grief sessions. And it was like in the will, like a part of it.
Wow.
Like
a provision.
Yeah, like this is like in his health package, like that was something in there for us. And I remember when my Gigi, before she passed, this was 2020 when I found out we had it. And she was like, oh yeah, here's the information, call. Now, I already been doing therapy. Shout out to Pastor Donna real quick, Dr. Battle. She's amazing out in North Carolina. She's in Raleigh. I love her for holding space for me throughout that whole process from 2019 on. But I needed some group for grief. Yeah. Like I needed to hear other people's stories around grief. And when you start hearing, you know, when people say, if you throw all your problems in a pile, you going to pick yours back anyway. Right. I was like, you know what? I'm going to take my good. Let me get my good grief
Some
back.
Other things going on.
Yeah, you know, but being able to do that allowed me to write a record like an I Feel It, because I knew what it takes to feel it all is to have. If you don't have a therapist or don't have access, you got a good friend group or support group, or there's plenty of places to go. You can call me, DM me if you need to, right? Yeah. Like DM me if you need to talk to somebody, but make sure you have those things in place. But I wanted to be transparent about what it takes to really feel it all. Like you have to surrender. You can't deny what your body is experiencing. Grief. I've been feeling my grief in my body. In one of the lines I say, the body don't lie is keeping the score. My body knows every time a person transition, how it hit my body. My body knows, you know? There's another line where I say, I can't take it no more. I can't fake it no more. I need therapy, like just straight up. Like, you know what? I do. Right. let me tap in, right. You know? Yeah, and that record, shout out to Enon on production on that as well. Enon, myself, and Wilkes really, I had to explain to them, like, y'all, this isn't just a record for me. Like, I know we produce and we create, but like, what I'm saying here is so, and I really need y'all to like bring every dynamic possible that I'm giving you on my little skeleton track. Bring every dynamic out that you can so that people can really like, I want them to have an experience with this record. Like,
but we did.
I felt that y'all did, you know, and it was interesting because I would post and then I knew people were listening to it, but like no one would say anything because, and I didn't need them to. It was just, I just needed you to listen. That was it. That's for you. You ain't got to tell me about nothing that you felt. I just wanted you to feel it. That's it. That's it. That's it. And that's all. And I think that record for me, though everything that I make is SoLauren, but I think if you want to get like to the tenderness of my heart, it's that. I'm a Cancer, as they say, for all those who love astrology. Right. They say I'm a Cancer and that I be in my feelings and I'm sensitive and all of that's what y'all say. But I really, I am as a person, beyond all of that, I'm a very tender-hearted person, so tender, so compassionate, and I wanted to have that I feel it conversation with that gentleness, right? But with that honesty, like this is a brutal, honest record. Like it's a brutally honest record. Like this is real work.
And you gave it up. We're glad for your sensitivity. We're glad for that tenderness because it has informed so much good music. I have loved this conversation today. I'm gonna wind us up with what I reserve for only the Artist Spotlight episodes, which is the Fast 5 questions.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, so feel free to just throw out quick answers. All right. Describe the music you create in 3 words.
Spiritual, healthy, real.
All right. Would you ever appear on reality TV? And if so, what show?
On reality TV, probably anything with probably like an Ayanla fix my life type of situation, because healing is happening.
Yeah. Anything else, you'll blow it up.
Yeah,
right?
I'm gonna say turn
you had
the
him
TV
in the press circle.
Right, exactly.
What's the best advice an elder has ever given you?
Ooh, best advice: rest.
Okay,
rest.
That's good advice.
It was.
We were talking about that.
Yeah, it was rest. Yeah, all the elders, now that I'm thinking about it, they've all said that at some point. And they've said many things, but that rest,
critical.
Yeah, very.
What's one thing in your life you wish you enjoyed more?
What do I wish I enjoyed more? Cooking right now.
Okay.
Yeah, I wish I enjoyed it more right now. I used to, and I just don't. Maybe because I've become more occupied with other things that I feel like I need somebody to do that.
Get somebody in here for that.
Can we have a vegan caterer come in?
Okay, and the last one. What would 10-year-old Lauren think of Lauren today?
Oh, I was thinking about this the other day. I think I would really, 10-year-old Lauren would so want to be me. I think 10-year-old Lauren was trying to get here at some point, and I'm not everything I wanted to be, but I think 10-year-old Lauren is so proud that I stayed true to myself, that I literally became SoLauren. Like, for so long, I was so Frisco, because I'm from the city, you know, trying to hold these like location as an identity. You know, I was so Frisco kid, you know, at one point, so Frisco 84 and all of these things. And it was like, no, you just need to be SoLauren. You don't have to be any more of anything else other than SoLauren. So 10-year-old Lauren is hella proud.
I love it.
Yeah. I mean, because if I can expound a little, like, SoLauren has been is my commitment to being my full authentic self. And that's not just in my music, but that's in everything that I do. In everything that I do, I'm gonna be SoLauren. And that's all I've ever wanted to be, was just to be me. That's it. Nobody else, nothing else. And that 10-year-old me like would be trying to fight to do that. Especially, you know, I just told you my upbringing. I was in the church. So it wasn't too much SoLauren than finna be happening.
Yeah.
It's like, you gonna be the pastor's child and, you know, and get in line and, you know, and unfortunately those types of ceilings, when we put them on ourselves or when we allow others to put it on us, we are missing out on so much of our journey. And we're really doing ourselves and those who need to see us be our full authentic selves, we're doing them a disservice by not shining in our full light. Dimming, it's like you could see me a little bit, but are you really seeing me? And so SoLauren is just my commitment to saying, no, I'm gonna be Lauren. Yes, I'm gonna grow. Yes, I'm gonna evolve, but the core of who I am, who I was as a 10-year-old who just wanted to make music purely, you know, to uplift my culture and to, you know, bring joy to folks and healing to folks. That's who I always wanted to be. And I'm that.
Mission accomplished.
Mission accomplished and still going. And still going, still accomplishing. Yeah, little by little. And so, you know, I'm just very, very grateful that I have the journey, though not always easy, but always worth it. All of it, from the grief, the ups and downs, the challenges, the transitions, every bit of it was worth it. Even if it was just to get to this conversation.
I love it.
It was worth it.
Tell people what you got coming up and where they can find your music.
Ooh, you can find my music on everything: Spotify, Apple Music. What's the other stuff y'all tap into?
Pandora.
Yeah,
I'm posting all the links. I'll put all the links out.
It's on all the things. YouTube, whatever you like, whatever your favorite streaming platform. Even though I prefer that you just download the music, just buy it directly from me. You can go to Bandcamp and get it, because if you stream, you really just paid Spotify for my music, for my art, and they gonna give me like 10 cents. So don't if that. I don't even think it's that. I think it's, I heard it's like, I don't even want to talk about it. That's the wickedness of the industry. But anyway, but you can get my music on all of the, download on everything. What's coming up? I have a project with Noble and DJ Basta. It's the Seed Project, C25 and 26. You're gonna love it. They gave me Noble sent me 4 records, and I was like, let's run it. Like, it was such a challenge for me because I didn't produce nothing on this one. This is a first for me. I normally be doing my own production. I'm like, nah, I'll do it. I'll do it myself. But this one, it was like, nah, challenge yourself, pull up, you know. And I really thank God for them because they pulled up during a time again while I was grieving. Shout out to also Grand National again because they kept me in those loops of creativity. Kariga as well, while he was working on his stuff, while we were, you know, taking our little grief time with Soul Development, just including me in those creative spaces. So that I can create projects like this one, the Seed that's coming up. You'll see that top of the year-ish. Okay. You'll see that soon. So that's coming out. Then you'll get Good Grief, which will also come out with a book to help guide you through the Good Grief album, just to kind of give you some ways to listen to music. I think that's one of the other things that I'm working on, is showing people how to listen to music again. So it's kind of like having liner notes, but for a whole album. But it's different. You'll see. You'll see. So you'll get the Good Grief project, and then after that, you're going to get a project called Here Goes Everything. And that's everything that I've held back and did not release to you all when I should have.
Oh, we're ready.
Oh, yeah. So you guys got 3, you all have 3 projects coming up from SoLauren that I'm really excited for y'all to tap into. Yeah, and all of it's good. Like I can't either because I've been holding it. Like the Seed Project, we've had this going on a little over a year now. We started that back in November of 2021, and we've been done. Yeah. Shout out to Basta who's made the 45, so you'll be able to purchase the 45s before it goes on the platforms. But he created the cover art out of old 45s and albums. I love it. And it's everything I love about music. It's like when music and visual art, it just all comes together. So dope. Again, Good Grief, and then Here Goes Everything. That's Well,
we're ready.
I'm ready too, because I'm trying to take over, y'all. I'm trying to really take over, you know, in a way that and I shouldn't say take over because I feel like there's space for all of us. I'm just trying to take my space, my space, and it's overdue. So I'm gonna come in real hot. It's gonna be thick. Y'all gonna have a lot, but I want y'all to support. I really want y'all to tap into good music again. You don't have to. We deserve, Black people. We deserve it. You deserve music that feeds your soul. You deserve music that speaks to your spirit, that pours back into you, that reminds you of who you are, that reminds you of where we come from. Our art is sacred. Them rhythms ain't just rhythms. That is us in there. Find us, tap in. And so that's what I'm bringing. I'm bringing that. And then you'll get that Soul Development album. Y'all will get that. Y'all gonna get it.
All the links. I'm linking to SoLauren. I'm linking to Dear Beloved. I'm linking to Bandcamp. I'm linking to all the things so you can find her. You can find her music.
Find me, y'all.
In the meantime, if you want to stop by my IG and get to know me a little bit better, I'm at Kahja versus Kahja. That's KAHJA_VS_KAHJA. I have loved this episode. Thank you so much for coming out in the rain.
To do this with me.
Thank you.
That rain bring growth, so we here for it. You're incredible.
Thank you.
I'm gonna just give you your round of applause because amazing. That was more. It wasn't an interview, and I thank you for that. I hate interviews. I like to talk to people for real.
I love it. Thank you.
And you did that. Yes. So thank you so much.
Absolutely, and big thanks to Stay Diff sponsoring this week's episode of the As Told by podcast. Pull up on them for your multimedia needs. I'll link them in the episode too. This is this week's episode of the As Told by podcast. Peace.